There we are, live. Hello. Welcome, everybody. My name is Simon Kingaby. I'm a big data engineer and have various data roles in my day-to-day life. And one of them is using and understanding charts. So I thought I would engage with you to see how you feel about charts and what do you think they tell you. So we'll start with a little about me. On the right, you see a little about me. Any other wargamers here? Wargamers? Warhammer? That's not necessary. Okay. I've been moving data for 30 years. So what is a chart? These are, of course, charts, graphs, the same thing, basically. And charts show us information visually. So a lot of data comes as this, tables and tables of data. So this particular data is Bitcoin prices. And it's very difficult when you look at raw data to, it's very difficult when you look at raw data to understand patterns or to, just like YJ told us, showed us. It's craziness. So raw data is just relatively meaningless usually. You collect it, and part of my job as a big data analyst is to gather large amounts of lots and lots of raw data that looks like this. But the charts take this raw data and show us a pattern. In this case, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was hovering around 10,000 for a while. So from beginning of 2020, even through the end of 2020, you see it's still only around 15,000. And then all of a sudden, people just started going nuts and buying lots and lots of Bitcoin. And when you buy lots of a stock or a cryptocurrency, the buying activity makes the price go up. And then it drops a little bit because people sell off, and then it goes up and up and up again. And Bitcoin went up as high as 65,000. And then in the last few weeks, all of the cryptocurrencies took a beating. And you can see here that they're back down in the 30s. Now this is 30,000, so Bitcoins are still 3 times more valuable than they were 2 years ago. But they're not at 65,000 like they were just a month ago. So that's what a chart can show us. This is 2 years worth of those data points. You see these data points. 1/1/2020, 7,000. 1/2/2020, 6,900, and so on. So by looking at the chart here, I can see those trends and see what's going on much more easily than I can by looking at the numbers. So in the chat, start typing up what are some of the parts of a chart. What are some of the parts of a chart? The lines, yes. The axes, the values. These are good answers. So let's look. We talked about the axes, okay? So there's y-axis up the side and the x-axis along the bottom. There's a chart title. This one is close versus date. These are the y-axis labels, 80,000, 60,000, 40,000. And it has a y-axis title. These are some great answers, guys. It has grid lines. And the grid lines help me see like 40,000 runs right through the middle here. So you can tell we're below 40,000. If that grid line wasn't there, you really wouldn't be able to tell very easily. And then these are the data points, or otherwise known as series. In this case, I only have one series. But let's say I was plotting Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin. Those three coins would be on this chart, and they would be three series of data. And then at the bottom, we have the x-axis labels, which are the days, and the title, which is the date. So yes, those are all parts of the chart. What are some types of charts that you know about? Types of charts. Pie chart, yep. Any other kinds of charts? When you guys get going, you get good. Yep, pie charts, bar charts, line charts, bar charts, dot plots, yes. So let's take a look at some different types of charts. Here's a table of information. What is this showing us? This is just tabular data. This is actually a kind of chart. This is a summary of what? Most popular games, right? Thanks, Ronit. So it's the top 10 ranked by the number of units sold. And you can see that the Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch is actually the top. And then what, this one surprised me, Red Dead Redemption 2 outsold Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, but you can tell some of that just by looking at a chart. So of tabular data. This is a great way to put top 3, top 5, in this case, top 10. On the right-hand side, we see some hardware boxes, the Nintendo Switch, PS5, the Xbox XS, and so on. Across the top, we have the US and Canada and Mexico, and some other countries. And this is global. So this is another tabular presentation of data. These I don't particularly like, but they are a great way to show some numbers if you need to show some numbers in your charts. What is this line chart showing us? So if you look, there's a legend at the bottom that tells you what all those lines are, these lines are representing. This is also data for video game consoles, yeah. How the market for the consoles and game devices are going, exactly. So it's a 3-month trend. So showing up here, it's zoomed into 3 months. So this is from February through to May. So this is current data. I think. For 2021. Yeah. So consoles, we've got Xbox 360 hardware. We've got the PS3. And then the PS5. It's hiding in there somewhere. The XS is right there. So you can see most of the consoles are not whoa, sorry. Not doing a lot of sales, but some of the consoles are doing quite well. What was at the end of March? Why are all these lines spiking up at the end of March? Does anybody know? Okay, good answer, Ronith. There were sales and people bought more. Exactly. Next, what does this line chart show? Same game systems. That's a good answer, A. GameStop stock was rising. This shows those same systems over time, over the last 14 years, 15 years. And so back in 2006, the Nintendo DS is this orange. Why is there a spike right at the end of the year? A spike at the end of the year. They sell more at the end of 2008, at the end of 2009, 2010. The end of every year, sales go up. Right, but why did sales go up? Christmas. That's right. It's the Christmas sales. Everybody gets a new Xbox for Christmas, right? So that's what this is talking about. So the DS was popular for quite a few years. And then right about here, it disappears and is replaced by the PS4. And this pale blue one is the Xbox One or the Nintendo Switch. So you can see over time, these newer boxes came in and the older boxes started not being sold so much. So you can see that we learn a lot just by analyzing the chart, but it's also a very good way to show how something happens over time. That's the key, is this happens over time. All right, what does this pie chart show? Take a moment. Read the title. Which ice cream market? So it's for 2018 in Japan. So they like vanilla and chocolate and matcha, then cookies and cream, not so much strawberry, and some adzuki bean. So that's the top 6. So I thought that it was really interesting that vanilla and chocolate are still the favorites. But I don't think we even have adzuki bean here in the US. I'd be interested to try that. So the pie chart shows us information as segments of a pie. And the bigger the segment, the more that segment represents. So in this case, we don't have numbers of sales, but we do know that vanilla and chocolate are favored over all these other flavors. All right, what does this pie chart show? It's a similar chart, and it's definitely something to do with ice cream. Where are these sales being recorded from? From the UK, right? And these are not flavors. These are, does anybody recognize any of these? Do you know the store named Aldi? These are places, right? These are stores. So in the stores, we see that Tesco has 27% of the pie. Sainsbury's has 15, Asda has 13, then the Morrisons, then the Cooperative, Iceland, Waitrose, Lidl, Aldi, and so on. Again, the pie charts are almost always organized from biggest to smallest, and they almost always have the segments represent a percentage of the whole. So sometimes they'll show us the percentages here, sometimes they won't. But that's how pie charts work. All right. Charze says she loves Tesco. That's awesome. How about this bar chart? What is this showing us? And why did they choose a bar chart? Oh, yes. Sometimes this is called a donut chart, but a donut chart is usually has layers. So there, it'll have the outside and the inside layer, and they have slightly different meanings. So I'll come back to a donut chart. Well, we'll have a donut chart a little later. What am I doing on time? I'm about out of time. All right, so this is a bar chart. And this chart shows facial cosmetics. So there are different facial cosmetics. And the US dollar sales by product category in 2019. So the bar charts are great at showing categories of things. Here's another example of a column chart. It's just a bar chart going upwards. Scatter plots. I'm going to flip through these a lot quicker because we're just about out of time. Thank you for your audience participation. It was awesome. This one is showing health, the Metro Health Index by income. And so you see that if you are making between 20 and 25,000, your health index is around 2 to 4. If you're making between 35 and 40,000, your health index is up here at 8 to 10. What's this chart show? This is a US election map, right? Joe Biden, Donald Trump. And it looks like Trump has way more red than Biden has blue. So how did Biden win? Well, if you look at this chart, it shows you how. California has a lot of seats. So do these other states around the outside. And all the states up here in the Northeast all have a lot of seats. Whereas the states that are big, empty states, where there's not a lot of population density, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and so on, these states only have 3 seats or 4 seats, or Utah has 6, because they're not very population dense. So all of these states went red up here, voted for Trump, but they only had 3 seats each. California has all these seats, and it went blue. So that outweighs all the ones in the middle. This is a donut chart, and as I said, donut charts usually have an outside and an inside so that you can compare the segments. In this case, we're comparing total cases to total deaths for COVID. And in the US, at the time that they did this chart, this was the number of cases versus the number of deaths. And there are other places, in Belgium, for example, where more people died than had cases. Not sure how that works, but there it is. So, next one is a bubble chart. Bubble charts are great for showing proportions. So, property crime goes along the bottom, violent crime goes up the left, and the bubble radius is the number of people below poverty. So, for example, this tells us that this state, Mississippi, has a lot of people below poverty and is about halfway up the crime and not very far up the violent crime. So that's complicated math. This one is a radar chart or a spider web chart. This is a basketball chart that shows for these players how well do they do when they have an assist or block a shot or defensive rebound. These are their different statistics, and so you can see the yellow, Brooklyn, is great at rebounding and assisting. But the blue, Francis, is better at the defensive rebound and field goals. Okay? So that's a useful chart. So here are some additional resources. And you guys get these slide decks at the end, so you can click on these. And that's it. I'm out of time, and I want to thank you all. You guys were awesome. Thank you for your participation and answers. And I think that's it. Enjoy the rest of it.